Now remember, the contract threshold is Mach 10. Not 10.1, not 10.2, Mach 10. That should keep the program alive. I don't like that look, man.
It's the only one I got.
Captain Pete Maverick Mitchell. Your reputation precedes you.
Thank you, sir.
Wasn't a compliment. I'm Admiral Bo Simpson. I'm the air boss. Believe me, no Admiral Bates.
Well, sir. Must admit, I wasn't expecting an invitation back.
They're called orders, Maverick.
Good morning. But what the enemy doesn't know is your limits. I intend to find them, test them, push beyond. Today we'll start with what you only think you know. You show me what you're made of.
The hard deck is 5,000 feet above ground level. A perimeter set not just for the safety of our pilots, but for the safety of their aircraft. 5,000 feet is not just a rule, it is a law, as immutable as gravity.
The hard deck will be much lower for the mission, sir.
And it will not change without my approval, especially not in the middle of an exercise. And that Cobra maneuver of yours, that could have got all three of you killed. I never want to see that shit again.
What exactly do you suppose you were teaching, Captain?
But as good as they are, sir, they still have something to learn.
You are talking about the best fighter pilots on the planet, Captain.
And they've been told that their entire career, while they've been dropping bombs from a high altitude with little to no dogfighting. The parameters of this mission call for something they have never encountered.
Okay,
something
you have
they...
less than 3 weeks to teach them how to fight as a team and how to strike the target.
And how to come home. And how to come home, sir.
Every mission has its risks. These pilots accept that.
I don't, sir.
You have put me in a difficult position, Captain. On the one hand, you have demonstrated that this mission can be flown. Perhaps the only way it can be survived. On the other hand, you did it by stealing a multi-million-dollar military aircraft and flying it in such a manner that it may never be airworthy again. Iceman is no longer here to protect you. I have everything I need to have you court-martialed and dishonorably discharged. So what do I do? Risk the lives of my pilots and perhaps the success of this mission. Or risk my career by appointing you team leader.
Sir.
I think the Admiral's asking a rhetorical question, Captain.
If I don't see you again, Hondo, thank you.
It's been an honor, Captain.
Yeah, I'm good. You all right? What the hell?
What are you doing here?
What am I doing
You
here?
think I took that missile so you could be down here with me? You should be back on the carrier by now.
I saved your life.
I saved your life. That's the whole point. What the hell were you even thinking?
You told me not to think.
synopsis of the Top Gun Maverick movie. After more than 30 years of service as one of the Navy's top aviators, Pete Maverick Michelle is where he belongs, pushing the envelope as a courageous test pilot and dodging the advancement in rank that would ground him. Training a detachment of graduates for a special assignment, Maverick must confront the ghosts of his past and his deepest fears, culminating in a mission that demands the ultimate sacrifice from those who choose to fly it.
The first critical incident is a scene where Coleman was reminding Maverick that the contract threshold is Mach 10, not 10.1 or 10.2, but Mach 10. So in this scene, he was being clear with his instruction and expected that Maverick to follow it. So there is a direct communication style in the scene between Coleman and Maverick. The effect of this direct communication style is that Maverick will receive the information as per what Coleman wanted without any fluff. As for the recommendation, between co-workers, there should be a direct communication style to avoid any mistakes or misunderstandings between co-workers in a workplace.
The second communication style that we can see in this movie is the sarcastic or sarcasm communication style. It is when Admiral Boo Simpson said, "Your reputation precedes you," and Maverick said thanks because he thought it was a compliment from the superiors, but it wasn't. Because after the thank you, the Admiral said wasn't a compliment to Maverick. Here we can see that Admiral Boo was being sarcastic with Maverick. The effect from this communication style is Maverick will find it as offensive. And because, as you can see in this scene, there is actually another co-worker, which he might also follow his style of being sarcastic because they thought it was okay if you are in a higher position. And in my opinion, the recommendation, I think Admiral Boo Simpson should have been honest with his feelings and opinion towards Maverick instead of being sarcastic.
The next critical incident that we chose is a scene where Maverick greets the Top Gun students by saying good morning, and then the students reply and smile back at him. There is a greeting communication style between Maverick and his students. The effect of this greeting communication is to break the awkward atmosphere during the first meet between, in the scene, Maverick and his students, and give a welcoming feelings to them in the class. As for the recommendation, everyone should practice greetings no matter in what position you are in a workplace. This can create an invisible bond between co-workers.
The next communication style is motivation. From this movie, we can see that when Maverick motivates the student by emphasizing that what the students know is also what the enemies know. Actually, from that part only, we can see that it's not part of motivation, but the after part, which is what Maverick said after that. The only thing the enemy does not know is their limits. So here we can see that Maverick is trying to get his students to show their worth. From this scene, we can see that as the effect, the student feel motivated and does not give up, even though the mission they receive is hard and actually very impossible to be done within the short period of time. In my opinion, workers in higher position can use this kind of communication toward their employees so they can finish their task with full of motivation and confidence.
The fifth critical incident is when Admiral Boo Simpson became enraged at Maverick for breaking the law and ignoring his instruction by flying low to the ground, and then he also shouted at Maverick. Admiral Boo Simpson also cursed at Maverick and saying that he doesn't want to see that shit again at the end of his sentence. So there is an aggressive communication style for these incidents. The effect of this aggressive communication It does not solve any problem because it is a one-way communication where Maverick will not given a chance to reply and defend himself. Admiral Bruce Simpson does not solve the problem by raising his voice. As for the recommendation, Admiral Bruce Simpson should talk after he calms himself first, so he and Maverick can have a proper talk and be rational without anyone raising their voices.
Another communication style is hostility. In this scene, actually we can see that Maverick neglects the rules and does whatever he wants, but he does not intend to be scolded by Admiral Bruce Simpson. Even though Maverick's actions are right because he wishes to encourage his students and inspire them to believe in themselves, however, in this scene we can see the hostility when Admiral Bruce Simpson is being unreasonable because he does not like Maverick. So he does not want to listen to Maverick's opinion and the reason why he does what he does. So from the Admiral Boo actions, actually the effect that we can see, this act shows Maverick's disobedience to upper level orders. Even if he tries to gain Admiral Boo Simpson's trust, he should still set a good example by following the rules in order to avoid hostility. As a fact, this act actually shows Maverick's disobedience to upper level orders. Even if he tries to gain Admiral Bruce Simpson's trust, he should still set a good example by following the rules in order to avoid hostility. Especially in this movie, we can see the hostility from Admiral towards Maverick from the first scene. So in my opinion, what he should do is Maverick should make appropriate actions to teach his students, but he should also consider what the higher ups command. The rules must have valid reasons behind it. If he do the right thing, then he can actually avoid the hostility because the admiral will not have any reason to scold him.
The seventh critical incident that we chose is when Hondo said to Maverick that it's been an honor, Captain. So he was referring to Maverick as captain to show his respect for him because they were about to embark on a big mission and he trusted Maverick with everything. In this critical incident, there is a respect communication style between Hondo and Maverick. The effect of this communication, which is respect, is when Hondo's way of saying it's been an honor, Captain, shows his respect for Maverick, and they are both acting and communicating professionally. As for the recommendation for this communication, I believe that even though our co-worker status is lower than us, we must respect one another. And being polite will create a positive work environment in a workplace between co-workers.
As for the last communication style in this movie, it is the concern within this movie. The scene when Maverick ran up to Rooster and asked him if he was okay, and Rooster asked him back since they were worried about each other. Maverick was mad by Rooster's action and Rooster screamed back, stating he did it because Maverick told him not to think about it and just do it, which is why he saved Maverick's life without thinking further. Maverick is worried about Rooster yet thankful at the same time. From this scene, in this act, Maverick's way of showing worries for Rooster was a bit harsh, but both of their voices still had a tone of concern. And one more, they actually managed to fix their relationship, which not good from the early scenes of the movie because they were concerned for each other, means that show that they care about each other. So in my opinion, the recommendation of this scene, in this case, one person should try to remain calm in order to avoid any confusion among co-workers, because we can see that when we are concerned about each other, we might get panic and does not, cannot stay calm. So that's all from us. Next, conclusion.
Conclusion. There are many types of workplace communication that we have encountered in real life without knowing the term. From this assignment, we have learned that it is important to be ethical and professional in the workplace because everything has their consequences. That's all from us. Thank you. I am Nur Fatiha.
I am Nur Adilla Shahida.
And we are signing off.
Signing off.